Well, good afternoon. Hello, Ryan. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing today?
Hey, Amy, I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well.
Great. I'm doing well. And before we get into talking about college admissions and focusing on our current seniors and leaning forward with juniors, how are you and your family handling the holidays? Is it the holiday chaos or holiday calm right now, or somewhere in between?
It's pretty calm right now, but I would imagine as we get closer to Christmas, it's going to be a little bit more chaos, and maybe in between.
Yeah, maybe in between. It's interesting. I just sent out my newsletter and this time of year, like to recommend a few books, whether it's for parents or for teens. And today's newsletter, the focus was really for moms. And this one book is so lovely as far as calm. It's called Theo of Golden, and it's very sweet. And I put in my newsletter, I was just thinking about it after I posted, how it really could be wonderful for anyone, this book, Theo of Golden. And just to picture yourselves out there, and I'll put the title in our comments as far as a gift for someone, or as far as if you like to read, just tucking yourself away. And it's all about kindness and really what, really, I think gives us calm in this busy holiday time. So, alrighty. Well, I know that for both of us, a lot of the chaos of our seniors and college applications has significantly decreased. And so now we can take time to relax and reflect. However, my first question and our first topic, I would like to focus on seniors, so high school seniors. Yes. And I know this time of year, the acceptances, rejections, or you've been deferred to regular admissions starts to pop into inboxes, right? We used to get, I think some small colleges still send handwritten letters, but what advice can you give, Ryan, when our students aren't getting results that they wanted? Because I know some of these schools that even 3-4 years ago were a little bit easier, higher admissions rate,
Right.
And kids are feeling it. So give us some thoughts from your expertise of a college consultant of how seniors can wrap their brain around, possible rejections, or they have been deferred to regular admissions. Like, what advice do you have?
Yeah, we are definitely seeing in the college consulting side, we are definitely seeing more and more students getting deferred. Okay. And later in the year, getting waitlisted at a lot of these schools. And it's pretty common now. Okay. The numbers are going up.
They are going up.
Yep. And I think that has to do with the colleges themselves using it more as a way to fill in their numbers as well.
Right.
So they're taking the best of the best students, doing early action or early decision. And then all the students that are pretty good are getting deferred. And so I remind my seniors, deferred does not mean you haven't been accepted. Deferred does not mean you've been rejected. Deferred means you're right there. You're really close. They just need a little bit more information to make a good decision. And
I think that's helpful.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's to put it in perspective. 20 years ago, deferral, it wasn't used a lot. It's used a lot now by most colleges. So it's pretty common. So
that's really helpful to hear, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I think it's good for students just to kind of understand that if they've been deferred, that means their application was really, really, really good.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that they're rejected, but they're just like right on that line of being accepted.
Right.
And so one thing we can do, I don't know if we want to talk about this right now, but one thing we can do as seniors, if they are deferred, is to look at if they get a letter or if they get some type of announcement telling them that they have been deferred, read it very carefully. Every college is very specific on what they want or what they need to help them make those decisions. Because some colleges will say, don't do anything.
Don't even do anything, right?
Yeah. Other colleges will say, hey, if you'd like to submit an additional, update on your grades, or if you've taken the standardized tests and your scores have gone up, or you've increased your extracurricular activities and leaderships, we want to know about it. Or if you have some additional letters of recommendation, please send it my way. Or writing a letter
Yes.
of interest, right?
Yes.
Of
Yes.
continued interest. So that's something
Yes.
that I'm sure you'd like to talk about as well, because
Yeah.
you know very well.
Yeah. I think that is absolutely fantastic advice. And two things that I'm hearing from you, and I know a lot of the viewers will watch our lives on the replay. And
Sure.
I love what you said in that, first of all, kids need to understand what it means if their application has been deferred to the regular admissions pile. And part of that is to remind them you've presented an excellent application. You've done a great job. And given the numbers, right? And given how a lot of colleges are just inundated with applicants, that word deferred has become more and more common, and you're still in the running. So let's just, and then phase two is, okay, so what can students do?
Right.
And I think your advice is golden, and it's worth repeating. And I'm going to type a comment, is to look at the specific college. What does that letter or what does that email say? Right. And some colleges just don't even, they're so busy and they have so many thousands of applicants who've been deferred. Don't do anything. You just wait, just keep going, stay positive, right? And other colleges, perhaps they will welcome a letter of continued interest, or if your test scores have gone up. I think that is really important, Ryan, for students and parents to hear. And it falls under the umbrella of what can we control? We can't control so many things in our life, but if test scores have come up, if they have leadership roles, basically, I tell my students, what can you tell the colleges why you're a great applicant since you applied back in October?
Right.
Whether that comes through with strategic emails or beautifully written letter of continued interest.
Yeah. Or your grades might have increased.
Your grades might have been absolutely.
Midterm grades, yeah.
Yeah. And that is what I'm telling a lot of our seniors, and this is really good to hear right now, all seniors. I would say it's not over till it's over. And you are not a second semester senior yet. Right. So go for these grades. And I know kids are leaning right now into final exams right around the corner.
Absolutely.
A lot going on. Okay, so that's fantastic. Is there anything else you wanted to add as far as seniors go right now?
Scholarships, don't forget about scholarships. Start looking. If you haven't started looking, this is a great time to start reviewing scholarships. And we could spend 20 minutes talking about that. Not only just seniors, but juniors as well. But scholarships is a great time over the holidays to look. I mean, obviously, there's millions and millions and millions of scholarships. So you need to have a plan to get through these. So it's not
I think we should talk about this a little bit. I've actually sent a couple of my students. I don't know if they've contacted you, but they are asking now that applications are in.
Yeah.
Again, these are seniors. What are their options at this point?
Yeah, so I spent a whole hour with my seniors earlier this week, and then I spent another hour last night with the parents of those seniors, where we just talked about private scholarships or outside scholarships. So, first information I'd like to make sure anyone who's watching is, when we talk about private scholarships or outside scholarships, these are scholarships outside or are not affiliated with a college or university.
Yeah.
Right? They're coming from nonprofits, businesses, foundations, charities, places like that.
Right.
And they can be used at almost every college or university. So it doesn't matter where your son and daughter attend. So, of course, you want to think about like the Coca-Cola scholarship or the Taco Bell scholarship or Dr. Pepper scholarship, or your local church might have a scholarship. Those are all private scholarships, right?
Okay.
So when it comes to private scholarships, every foundation, every organization, every business has their own qualifications for their scholarships. They also have their own deadlines. Right. So some of those scholarships have already passed. The deadlines have already passed, and your son and daughter missed those. However, there's lots and millions of more that the deadlines have not passed. And so it's a good time to do these in what I call waves. So a few times throughout the year. So over Christmas break is a great time to look for scholarships.
That's great.
See what's out there. And then maybe you want to take a look at it again sometime early spring, and then maybe late spring as well. So send them out in waves. And you also want to have a plan of action, because it can be overwhelming.
Yes, it can be.
And there is no one single source for every scholarship that is out there.
Yeah.
There's no one website that has every scholarship. So you're
Right.
going to have to use multiple websites to do this. I usually use 2 or 3.
Okay.
And we could go on and on and on.
I know we could. I know you're right there. You're like, do you want me to? I know that I've seen you speak in detail about this. And so parents watching now, watching the replay, if you're watching this and you have, let's say like your sister, let's say you don't have seniors right now, but your sister does, and she needs this information, please. I would encourage you to reach out to Ryan. He is the expert with all things scholarship and financial aid for college related. And there is just so much out there that I feel like parents and kids, it is so overwhelming, Ryan. They're just like leaving it on the table. And
Yes.
And 20 minutes with you could just clear away the cobwebs, and you can help create an action plan and set them in the right direction. The one question that I did have for you involving scholarships and seniors, and then we'll move on to some information for what juniors can do right now, is based on what you've seen from qualifications for scholarships to scholarship applications to answers that scholarship organizations or schools want. How does, other than like the numbers, how does the scholarship application differ from like the overall college admissions application? Does that make sense?
It does. I guess the best way to explain this is, the college applications are fairly standardized to a certain extent, right? Students are using, excuse me, the common application or the coalition application, and it's kind of standardized for hundreds of colleges and universities, where scholarship applications, there is no standardization. It just depends upon the organization, the business, the nonprofit, and they can ask for whatever they want. So some applications, you might need to write an essay. Other applications for scholarship, there might be an interview associated with it. You might need additional letters of recommendation. Sometimes you might have to submit standardized test scores. So it really just depends upon the organization. There's no standardization, basically.
Right. And then just over the past few weeks, I've been super interested in really from a writing point of view, really from a strategy point of view, how the scholarship essay questions, other than they're usually shorter than the Common App essay, but not shorter than a lot of the supplemental essay questions.
Right.
As far as the expectations for the scholarship essays in your point of view, what advice do you have, from a general level, because I know everyone is different.
Right.
Can seniors just feel more grounded and confident in what type of writing they're supposed to do? And of course, this is from your point of view.
Yeah, I think the first thing that they need to do is, if they have the opportunity and have the availability, is hire someone like you to help them with that.
Yeah,
because that can separate them from the crowd, right? Can bring out
really can.
bring out those unique qualities that the scholarship committee is looking for, right?
I mean, Ryan, let's just pause with that for a second. I mean, it seems to me that if parents and kids knew about the scholarships that were available and could really look at some of those essay questions and then had guidance, they could be saving so many financial resources with just little tweaks in word choice.
Sure.
Because I would argue, and I don't know if you have come across this, but a lot of the seniors, they're so exhausted.
Right.
And they've finished all their essays. They've finished college applications. Now they're heading into finals. And now they have 8 more scholarship essays to write.
Right.
So again, I always say it's not over till it's over. And that's where an extra pair of expert eyes giving feedback like, you know what? You're really not answering the question. Or do you see how repetitive you are? Not difficult, but could be a game changer for families. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Final question about like scholarship essays, and then let's move on to, juniors and tips for parents now. Do you think it's safe to say that a lot of the scholarship essays are more specific and direct? And can we even say that they focus a bit more on like majors and possible career choices than some of the more creative college supplemental essays? Like, what is your opinion on scholarship essays?
Yeah, I think generally you are correct, because a lot of the scholarships are very particular, very specific as well. Right. So I'll give you a quick example. 6, 7, maybe 10 years ago now, I had to go back and look. One of my students lived in Kentucky, right across the border from Cincinnati. But long story short, he was an average student. He was a good student, but average, white male, middle income family. And he said, Ryan, what am I going to do to get a scholarship? I'm just kind of an average guy. I don't really stand out on anything. And I said, well, fill out this scholarship inventory for me. And it was just some questions to kind of get a feel of what he was, what made him unique, basically. Okay. And one of the things he put down on there, he was on the rifle team.
Oh.
And I was like, well, what is a rifle team? He goes, oh, yeah, my high school competes with other high schools, and we have a rifle team.
Okay.
I didn't know what that was. And so I was like, wow, that's really cool. I was like, I wonder if there's any scholarships for students that are on high school rifle teams, because that's one of the things that made him unique. We found one. He won the scholarship, and it was quite a bit. I don't remember what it was, but it was like
fabulous.
$1,000 or something. It was like who knew that was out there? But it was very, very specific. And those are the types of scholarships where if you can find something that makes your son and daughter unique, that can really narrow down your searches and can increase the chances of you getting those scholarships. So to answer your question, if you are wanting to become a teacher, right, you can narrow it down based upon, potentially becoming a teacher, and writing your essays will all probably about why do you want to become a teacher, right? Or where do you want to achieve as an educator or something like that. And so,
something like that, right? Okay. So it really is, it is true that a lot of these scholarship essays, definitely it's worth it to get an extra pair of eyes and then to create a strategy so that you really are answering their question. And a lot of them are very forward leaning with academic career, possible, job career. And I would also argue how those scholarship essays and that application connects to what you've already presented, because I remember reading an article in the Wall Street Journal a good 3 years ago, and it was all about college applications. And the journalist asked 3 different colleges from 3 different regions in the United States, what is one of the most irritating, or frustrating things for you with your job? Because there are a lot of applications compared to like 40 years ago. And hands down, 2 of the colleges said, we find it very frustrating when in a student's essays, and I'm thinking also about scholarship essays now, there's actually contradiction with what they've already presented in their like activities list or their, other parts of their college application. So I would argue, now that we're focusing on scholarship essays, that there has to be, connection between all of it, like the whole package. I mean, I think, for example, this one college said, I think I brought this up before, that we had this one essay and the student, a great student, was talking all about how he or she wanted to become a vet, but nothing in either the classes this student took demonstrated anything with the science, anything out of the norm with sciences like AP Chem or even honors chem or bio. And there weren't any activities with volunteering at a vet med clinic or a hospital. And so I would imagine that same connection needs to be strong with scholarships and scholarship essays. And that's where like an extra pair of eyes and consultation comes in to say, like, I think you really need to emphasize this more, or you've already,
that's a really
strategy. I think that strategy is super important. So, our seniors will be done 100%, within, as you said, within the next couple of months, right? Of course, there's always, your outlier. And so I know that we're both getting inquiries from parents of juniors. I know a lot of juniors, as they step into second semester junior year, start to really feel the heat of excellent grades and upcoming college applications.
Right.
So I was going to ask you, like, so what can juniors do now? But I thought I'd narrow that down to like literally over the next month and a half with final exams, with starting the new year, and then with really stepping into the new year strong, what are like 2 or 3 things? Because I know you have about 22 or 23 things, but what are 2 or 3 things that juniors can do, especially over the break when they have some breathing room and these finals exams for most kids are done? I know the school where I used to teach, the final exams used to be after, maybe they still are, after the winter break.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So let's shift a little bit to juniors, and I'm going to take some notes and type in the comments here.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, there's lots that they could do. I was just thinking, what are 2 of the things they could do now that wouldn't overwhelm them? They can still enjoy the holidays, relax a little bit. Well, number 1 is they could update their resume. I think this is a great time to do this. They've been in high school for a few months now. It's kind of mid-year for them. And so it's a great time to go into their resume and say, okay, what have I done since the beginning of the school year? What have I accomplished? And this will really help them out, over the summer when they start filling out the common application and they have to list all their activities. They won't forget all of this. So it's a little bit fresher on their mind. So this is a great time of year to do that. Number 2, they haven't begun their college search. Start looking at different colleges that are out there. This is kind of a fun thing to do. Just do some college search, right? Start thinking about sizes and distance from home and what you might want to study, and putting them into the plethora of websites that are out there that can narrow down your college search. Don't be afraid to consider colleges that you've never heard of. There are so many more colleges and universities that you've never heard of.
You've always said. I know. Yeah. I wonder if, I don't know I wonder if we ever did like a spotlight. Like, have you heard of these 3 colleges like that maybe parents haven't, and you did like a special spotlight on that? I mean, that might be a really cool new, event for us to do. I mean,
sure. Yeah, absolutely. I do that all the time in my newsletters.
That's really cool. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'd be glad to do that. It'd be fun, actually.
Well, I think that is, and sorry, but I think that is, and even a lot of really great college consultants know that there are so many wonderful colleges that maybe they're known just for that region.
Yeah.
And they give fabulous scholarships and their professors are terrific. And, they have sports. Maybe it's not like SEC sports, but of kids that have gone there that have loved it. They've gone on, but there's just this gap with, so that would be fun to do sometime.
Yeah, I think it's really important because we all know of the large schools, but some of these other great colleges and universities need to get the word out as well. The students need to be exposed to them. Not saying that the large state schools aren't great colleges and universities. They are. But they might not be the perfect fit for your son.
That's the thing. Well, that is really interesting, Ryan. And let's absolutely do a whole live on that in the new year with it's almost a sad flaw sometimes that kids will only apply to these schools that they've only heard of. I mean, I guess on their defense, like, why wouldn't they? Well, unless there's a specific, sports connection or a relative connection.
Or guidance counselor might have mentioned it.
Guidance counselor might have mentioned it. They were happening to be in the surrounding areas, visited, loved it, but that's more of an anomaly. Yeah, that would be fun to do. Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
So anyone listening, if you have any that you would like for us to do, please put it in the comments. We can definitely do that.
That's really cool. Okay, so third and final, and then we will wrap it up here. Third and final. So again, parents, if you're hopping on now, you're watching this on the replay, this is just what your juniors can do in a casual but focused way over the break to make upcoming college applications easier and less stressful. Yeah.
And if we have time, I would just mention, start thinking about spring break. It sounds like a long ways away, but it's really not. And spring break is a great opportunity to do some college visits. So if you can, go ahead and start scheduling some of those. They fill up really quick, especially at the larger state schools. If you want an official visit, you need to start getting that organized and maybe even scheduled.
That's very true. I know that just from my son, this past fall, like some of these big schools within a 4-hour drive of 5-hour drive of Charlotte. Like we couldn't even get in.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that's really smart to start planning ahead because spring break really is just around the corner.
It's so crazy.
That I know. Yeah, it is so crazy. Yeah, I know. Well, thank you so much. And as always, I appreciate your insight. And tell me once again, and we'll put it in here, where is the best place that parents can get a hold of you if they wanted to ask any questions, book an appointment, and sign their junior up to work with you?
Yeah, great. You can just go to clarkcollegeconsulting.com.
Yep.
And we have free consultations. You can schedule it, and we can sit down with you and get an idea of creating a plan for your dream college for your son or daughter, and answering any questions that you might have.
Awesome. And I highly recommend that you reach out to Ryan. And as always, if you have a son or daughter struggling with getting through difficult literature like Anna Karenina or Macbeth or the Odyssey, please message me here. This is being broadcast to LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. You can also find me and Ryan on Instagram, and we are here for you. We are here to make all things for your child's future and for your family easier under the blanket of college admissions and college essay writing. So thank you so much, Ryan, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yep. And more to come. See you
Thanks,
soon.
Amy. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.